Kräuter-Knoblauch and scharf. If you're struggling, just say alles komplett and they'll know what you mean. I can only speak for Berlin Döner, but I'm assured they're the best in Germany, but that's a controversial one. So most of you probably have some idea about what a Döner kebab is. I mean, I thought I knew all about it until I came to Germany. It's easily my favorite fast food and probably Germany's favorite as well. So my challenge today is to make a completely vegan version of this fast food classic. Yeah, I'm excited. Let's get on with it. If you've had a Döner in Germany, you'll probably recognize this image here. You have the happiest man in the world carving his beautiful pillar of meat, which is juicy and thinly sliced and placed in bread with lots of salad and sauces. So first I'm going to take 125 grams of the wheat gluten and add it to the bowl, 40 grams of chickpea flour. That just helps with the texture and breaks it up a bit so it's not as dense. 25 grams of nutritional yeast. And again, if you're familiar with vegan cooking, nutritional yeast is quite a popular ingredient because it has a very slightly cheesy umami flavor and is a great boost to many things that need a bit of help. And then I'm just going to add some spices, a teaspoon of paprika, some garlic granules, onion granules, and then some smoked paprika and some cumin. And then finally, the all-important salt. And then once you have all your dry ingredients in the bowl, you're just gonna whisk them all together. And then I'm just gonna add some water, it's 175 ml. And then finally, I'm just gonna add a little bit of apple vinegar. That just helps to sort of neutralize what people call the gluten-y taste of seitan. Yeah, I immediately regret using the whisk. Just use a dough scraper instead. It's a lot easier, otherwise it all gets stuck in there like that. I'm here to make these mistakes so you don't have to. It's always easier when you've just added the liquid to use a dough scraper to mix it all together. And then you can really scrape down the sides of the bowl. So once it's come together a little bit, you can just use your hand, and then all you need to do is knead it for a couple of minutes, just until there's no real dry spots. And if you do forget to put something in, it's not the end of the world, just stretch it out again and then put it in. I need my pepper fairy, please.
I've always wanted to be a pepper fairy. How much do you need?
Yeah, keep going.
Keep going.
That's good. Thank you.
Smiling with your
Yeah. And then just mix it all together again. I like to shape it into almost like a log, kind of resembles the kebab itself, and you can imagine yourself shaving it off like that. And now I'm just going to cover it with tin foil. Oh, fairy! Here's the wonderful tin foil fairy. I think, wait, that's 2 wishes now. I only have 1 left, so I'll be careful with that one. Bye, Seitan. In the meantime, you can start making the sauce. I'm kinda gonna combine the herb sauce and the garlic sauce. If you've ever had a Döner kebab in Germany, you'll know all the sauces are really rich and creamy and a little bit sweet. That's because they're mainly made of mayo, like 50–60%, maybe a bit of yogurt and some spices. I'm kinda gonna go the other way and make it a little bit fresher and have more yogurt than mayo. Just a little hint of tahini. The herbs, again, you can choose what you like. I really like just dried mint on its own, but also dill and oregano, other things work well. And then with the garlic granules, just for a little bit of garlic and umami in there. Just a little squeeze of lemon, give it a bit of acidity, lighten it up. What is this? This pepper? Yeah, salt. Just whisk it all together until it, becomes one beautiful sauce. I can't actually remember the first Döner. I've had so many now that it's all kind of blurred into one. You get asked some questions, and maybe if you don't speak German, if you're struggling, just say alles komplett, and they'll know what you mean. The sauce, I normally go for all 3. That is the Kräuter-Knoblauch and scharf. Probably get a big dollop of herb sauce, and then you'll get a tiny little speck of scharf sauce, depending on how hot it is. And then if you want it really spicy, you get extra scharf. It burns your mouth and eyes when you go to eat it, but sometimes that's what you need. Ask the people out there, let us know, how do you eat your Döner? But that thing about the garlic, yeah, that's when you have the garlic sauce, it's on your breath and it's on your fingers as well, and you get to the end and it gets really saucy, and then for hours afterwards your fingers smell like concentrated garlicky doner. It's not necessarily a bad thing, just, you know, be careful where you put them. That's a bit of life advice, yeah. Next, we're gonna make the marinade for the seitan when it's finished. And I need to get the ingredients for that, so be right back. So we're gonna try and boost the seitan a little bit with yogurt and oil. And then these are just some classic doner spices. A big tablespoon of sweet paprika, oregano, some basil, garlic granules, onion granules, and finally some smoked paprika, some coriander, and some cumin.
You remind me of a painter, Reggie, now with the palette.
Yes, I'm maybe more of a Picasso than a Rembrandt. And of course, some salt. The all-important pepper I won't forget again. Wait, was it this one? Yes.
You know Rorschach test?
Yeah.
What do you see in there right now?
It's like an oil slick. I think that's a bad omen. I feel like somehow it holds the key to my future. But at the end of the day, it all gets mixed into one, so. Okay, so now it's time to slice the seitan. Now this is one I actually prepared yesterday. So I'm gonna slice this as thinly as I can. If you eat less meat, you know, you say you cut it down to once a week or once every 2 weeks, then it actually becomes much more exciting as well. There's more of a ceremony when you do go out and buy, you know, maybe roast a whole chicken, you know, it feels a little bit special. Whereas if you eat meat every day, you can get, you know, a bit sick of it. It's not as inspiring. Like I get more excited at the thought of cooking with meat now because I know that I don't do it very often. Nowadays, most of the stuff you buy in the supermarket, you have no idea where it comes from. I think it's a problem with the industry rather than the consumer, but we have to change our habits to try and force some changes to the welfare standards of these animals. Okay, so now our other seitan baby is done. I'm just gonna get it out of the oven. So if you want to see what it's like just after it's been baked, this is still a little bit soft, and as it cools, dries and hardens, so it's easier to slice. So I'm just gonna put them in the marinade. So it's hard to make this look cool, really. They're just sort of flapping all over the place. Okay, so now I'm just gonna slice everything. You don't need to be too professional about this. You can just roughly chop everything into chunks. They're gonna be in the oven for about 20 minutes, so you don't want them too small, otherwise it might burn or turn to mush, and you don't want them too big, otherwise they won't cook. So these are potatoes. Okay. These are potatoes.
What's the other thing? What's the big black thing? That's fine, let's just...
Make sure you get it in the bin when you chuck a seedy peppercorn. I just add some salt and pepper, a little drizzle of olive oil, and mix it all together. Okay, then we're just going to put this in the oven for 20 minutes and then it should be wonderfully brown and beautifully baked afterwards. So now it's time for the moment of truth. It's time to fry the seitan. You need to christen it in the fires of hell.
It's like the casting spell.
I am. The magic of induction. Okay, it's been about 20-25 minutes now. I'm going to get the veggies out. As you can see, they've got a nice bit of colour on them, and they're being a little bit crispy as well. When you're frying, you just want to make sure you turn it over now and again and make sure each side is a little bit crispy. And here you have the finished product. Looks like doner to me. Tastes like it according to the team, and they are some doner connoisseurs, so I'm happy with it. So each doner will have something like that. I have a grill pan I've been preheating, but you can use any pan you have. Cast iron's good, but if you don't have that, then just use a normal frying pan. Just put them in, use another heavy pan to flatten them down. And then you just need to let them toast for a minute, and as they heat up, it becomes easier to press it down and flatten them. This bread is actually fairly widely available within Germany, at least. You can find it in supermarkets or Turkish supermarkets. If you're not in Germany, it might be a bit difficult to find, but you can really use any bread you have. Pita bread, or you can even have it in a wrap like a tortilla. If you're lucky enough to have a grill pan like this, then you can recreate that classic pattern on the bread. Everyone who's had a doner in Germany will recognize that. Steaming away. Now, for the fun part, the messy part, the difficult part, fitting all of this goodness into here. I've got my nice herby, garlicky sauce here. I'm gonna put a big spoon of that in first. I also have a little bit of my homemade chili sauce. I'm just gonna put a touch in, you know, I don't wanna blow anyone's socks off. Just spread it around as if you're buttering a bit of toast. When you're laying it, it's easier to sort of hold it flat like that and have it as a sort of table. And then I have some tomato, cucumber, and the all-important onion. Some people find raw onion overpowering. I'm a big man, I'm gonna go for some harsh white onion. Again, just let your creative side come out. It's a bit like Bob Ross. Have you ever seen The Joy of Painting? And there's a nice little tree there. And then it's time for Seitan to enter. I have some vegan feta. It's really nice, adds a nice sort of fresh, creamy tang to the doner. Patrick, can you pick some leaves for me? A nice squeeze of lemon, just a bit of zing. Lighten everything up. Not too much. And now for the final touch. We have the Döner Tüte. These wrappers come with every doner. For me, it's always best to eat it standing up, away from prying eyes, maybe on the street corner, not yours. Just so if you make a mess, you can leave it there and your neighbors won't know it's you. Never in the subway or never surrounded by pigeons or seagulls or anything like that. Oh, it's heaven. Or it's hell after all, it's Seitan. Juicy, meaty. So guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I did eating it. Now, I'm gonna hear from the doner gods and look into your future. Over here, we have your pathway to future success in the kitchen. And over here, we have your pathway to find a lifelong friend.